Bow, bow, bow. Welcome to the news. So today we're talking about the opposite of the influencer marketing market. So in essence, the way that it typically works is in terms of branding. Brands will approach influencers to be able to develop an influencer campaign. Whereas today we're trying to talk about the opposite. Stay to the end to find out how we get there. Welcome to the news. So nonetheless, we're talking about influencer marketing, influencer manufacturing, in fact. Today we're talking about influencer manufacturing, where as opposed to the market where in essence influencers wait for a larger brand to go to them to in essence do a collaboration or a connection in terms of a content media development. It's the opposite. The creator, the person who creates and makes content and has a brand and awareness in essence, goes to bigger brands around the world, which is hopefully, ideally, something that we can get into with Dinky T and C4G and Dinky Tech and Change for Game Studios in terms of trying to develop connection to the world of manufacturing. So as opposed to an influencer waiting for a manufacturer and or a brand that already is manufacturing something more at scale or a more complex, more significant manufacturing process to, in essence, have a bigger brand try to connect with an influencer to do content media. For a brand, for example, it's meant to be backwards. So the influencer is meant to go to manufacturers, basically. So influencers going to manufacturers to basically create new products, which is in essence the strategy for Dinky Tech and Change for Game Studios, trying to develop new venture connections, joint ventures to be able to make more global products, more global connectivity, more global collaboration, incentivization, similar to the brands Supreme and Palace that, like, for example, Palace has partnered with AMG and Mercedes, which is a little bit unique and unusual. One is a clothing brand, the other one develops cars. And those are the types of situations that we would like to have spin about to be able to develop a whole new world around us, to be able to go across borders and countries from one day to the next, to be able to develop this stream of consistent, ongoing flow of collaborative energy and just collaboration overall, from actually like hiring, the opposite of brands hiring influencers, but the opposite of influencers hiring brands, and ideally influencers hiring brands at scale to develop joint ventures, more or less, with companies. Because the thing is about every single brand in the world, whether it's a personal brand or a large Fortune 500 companies, they all manufacture something. Every person in the world, even if that's what personal brands are all about, is they all manufacture something. There's an energy that all people in the world manufacture. There's an energy that all brands in the world manufacture. That's what business music, to me, and Dinky Tech and Change for Game Studios is all about. It's trying to resonate like an advertising agency, like a marketing agency, the ability, the concept, the construct that corresponds to the element and the interest and the essence of scale. Scaling up the potential to develop an ideation revolving around what every single entity in the world is manufacturing, to try to scale up that conceptual value to the greater, grander, wider marketplace. And in essence, we're trying to focus on the opposite of the influencer marketplace functionality by conceptualizing how the influencers can go to the brands, as opposed to the brands going to the influencers to try to just make content. It's about the influencers, or in this instance, it's related to influencers going to brands to be able to manufacture things as well. And it's also like LVMH has like a clothing brand, various different clothing brands. They connect with different designers. For LVMH, for example, they have many different clothing brands under one umbrella brand to be able to develop consistent products, whereas we're talking about manufacturing unique items, unique artifacts, like that are just cheeky and interesting and meant to be able to develop fetching processes for a unique consumer audience base, which is meant to be sort of random and cause ingenuity and cause creativity by developing left field products sometimes to throw audiences off just to see how it goes, because you can sometimes develop a print on demand type of a scheme, so you can print on demand products as you continue to get demand, and if demand grows, then you try to grow with the demand, as opposed to just trying to make massive orders for manufacturing before it's too early, or things of this nature. So the ideation is to really try to connect with the influencer manufacturing market. The influencer manufacturing market, which is the opposite of just influencer content marketing. because in essence we want to try to connect with what is being manufactured by the essence of what's special about every single person and every single brand, or every single group of people, I should say, because massive companies are groups of people. So it's either one person or it's groups of people, and that's really the option for developing optionality between developing influencer manufacturing concepts and conceptualizations, because the brand Supreme and the brand Palace, they're the ones that have been like sort of acknowledging and running and foreshadowing and front running the space of collaborations with other brands, collaborative brand connections to be able to develop new products, and then also develop clothing revolving around that. So it's like the actual product itself, which comes from influencer manufacturing inspirations, and then also you've got the potential to promote it using clothing or music or other promotional avenues, which is the purpose revolving around having marketing capabilities and a marketing agency style capabilities, and trying to connect with more influencers in the e-commerce space more frequently, more vividly, to try to influence the whole world based on significant manufacturing influencer manufacturers, so that we're in essence focused on both. We're dual and multifaceted, multiversatile in terms of focus, in terms of potential to be able to release and connect and conceptualize with influencer manufacturers. So in essence, we're talking to brands that are trying to be innovative to begin with, brands that hire influencers, but instead of like asking for a collaboration with larger brands, similar to how larger brands go to influencers to ask about collaborative connections in terms of content development, media content development, we're trying to go to brands, larger brands, and hire the brands to do collaborations by developing a conceptual connection between manufacturing and influence and influencer marketing through the essence of manufacturing. So not going to influencers for more media content, but going to manufacturers for hiring based on collaborative engineering and or product development, if you will. Similar to how, there's something called the Snoop DeVille, which is a Cadillac made specially for a unique collaboration. And anyway, more of that to be able to cross borders, specifically cross borders, to be able to make the world more fluid in terms of a consistent manufacturing and fluid global manufacturing space that connects all of humanity through the essence of business and the essence of unique functionality through unique global collaboration, a global collaboration marketplace to put all the fishing poles into all the pools of demand that correspond to the fishing poles of supply, connecting to all countries, connecting all the countries in the world to unique marketplace strategies to be able to give every single country a unique leg up in the world of business music, in the world of business, in the world of connecting our vibrations, our energy, our harmony through the essence of business music, which is intending to make the essence of scale occur, or amplify the essence of scale revolving around what's special and what's unique about what every business music energy is trying to promote and produce, whether it's one individual and one individual's personal brand or a group of people in the whole world, to be able to develop a congregation of significant global business music energy and philanthropy energy, to develop a global philanthropy energy grid by focusing on influencer manufacturing in this marketplace. And that's about all for now, to be able to also develop, ideally, the global good deeds economy following the global philanthropy energy grid. And that's all for now. Thanks again, Dinky Tech and Change for Game Studios. Bye, peace, bye. And let's all remember to push for world peace every single day. Let's all remember to push for world peace every single day. Let's push for world peace every single day. And also, let's remember to try to clear the animal shelters. Let's clear all the animal shelters in the world. Let's clear all the animal shelters in the world, because we can foster all the shelter animals. We can adopt all the shelter animals in the world. We can rescue all the shelter animals in the world. And we can also hire the shelter animals as healers. We can also hire the shelter animals as healers all throughout the world, so that they don't have to be mistreated in animal shelters. And we can clear the animal shelters, and we can hire the shelter animals as healers throughout our communities. Hire the shelter animals as healers throughout our communities, because they also work for free, and they could use better purpose and use better jobs and be able to add value and be therapeutic energy for humans and humanity, to help us be more harmonious as humans and among humanity for all the animals in the world, to clear all the animal shelters, to try to get them to transition their energy in terms of therapeutic energy to all humans, so we can clear the animal shelters, to add value to humanity in terms of harmony if possible. And let's push for world peace every single day and clear the animal shelters every day. That's all for now. Thanks again, Dinky Tech and Change for Game Studios. Bye. Peace. Bye.